I thought it was a bit harsh. I mean, you look at the league table, there's so many teams in and around it. You look at West Ham, they're 1 point below West Ham, goal difference above Everton. Leicester, 3 points ahead of them. And I don't see why you would give him money to spend in January. I mean, just before the window, signing Rutter, talented striker, Weston McElhenney, signing him, and then you give him one game. And it wasn't the worst loss against Nottingham Forest. They took their chances early on, Leeds. They probably would have got something out of the game. I just felt that it was a bit of an odd decision to not give him a few more games for me.
What did you think, Ray?
I certainly believe they look at certain other clubs when they make a big decision. I mean, Everton made that big decision to say, right, Frank, we've gone as far as we can now. Sean Dyche comes in, look at the reaction they had. Now, I always believe they've got to have a plan, and I don't know who they're going to bring in, whether they're deal or they're working on it right now. But they must have had a plan before they said, that's enough of Jesse Marsch. He can't take this club anywhere forward. Of course, you get tapped up behind the scenes. They'll be looking at other managers. Would you be available? Would you come to Leeds? All that sort of stuff will be happening behind the scenes. I should imagine. So I reckon there will be a manager very soon in place. I should imagine at Leeds, and then it's how they get the reaction of that manager. But it's a little bit of a gamble because you don't know if you're going to bring a foreign manager, and it looks like the favourites are going to be a foreign manager. Who's not ever managed in the Premier League. It's a gamble. Sean Dyche. That wasn't a gamble for me because he knows the league very well. He knows exactly what he can bring to the table. Get a bit of organisation back, and you're not. It is a gamble, but you're not taking that gamble if you know what I mean.
You know what didn't help him though, right?
The league.
You know what didn't help him? I seen him do an interview after they lost to Villa a few weeks ago, and he said to the reporter, "I don't mind losing games. I don't mind losing games if you play like that." If you're the Leeds board, you're like, no, we want to win games and stay in the league.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
It's about winning games when you're down there, not really performances. So his interviews probably didn't go well.
I thought they played well against Forest. I know they lost 1-0, and it was a fantastic goal from Johnson. But I thought there were spells in that game. If they just took their chances, then they could have got 3 points there, and then suddenly it's a different picture.
Yes.
But people start panicking sooner or later. They're looking at that league table going, they're looking at teams like Wolves who just beat Liverpool. They're moving out. West Ham got a great result against Newcastle. And they'll be looking around them saying, well, there's 3 got to go down somewhere along the line. So we've got to take this gamble now to say that if we do get the reaction like we want, then we will be in the Premier League next season. But I certainly believe, like Adrian Durham said earlier, the squad they've got, Leeds, is far too good. I know you can argue, no one's too good to go down, but the squad they have as players, they're a very talented squad, and I do believe they get the right man in.
If you they can move out very quickly. If you look at Everton, Leeds, West Ham, Wolves, Leicester, Forest, you could say all of them have got squads that are too good to go down.
That's basically 13th down to 17th that you just listed there. The bottom 3 at the moment: Everton, Bournemouth, and Southampton.
What does Southampton do? That's the big question.
Do you think that's going to stay the same, or who would your bottom 3 be then?
Well, I'm certainly going to go Southampton and Bournemouth. I'm afraid. I was at the game at the weekend, Brighton v Bournemouth, and they had their chances again, but wrong decisions at the wrong times in games has really affected them. I feel sorry for Gary O'Neill. He's doing his best he can. So I do believe those 2 teams will go down. Then it's one of.
It's hard to choose, isn't it? The third one's hard because you say Leeds squad, like you said, Ray, is good enough. Everton with Sean Dyche, I can't see them getting relegated. You've got West Ham. You can't see West Ham going down. Wolves are playing good football now. Forest, they've got about 100 players to choose out of. Yeah. Crystal Palace, 24 points. They're not safe yet.
I'm going to go in 8th place Fulham. Joking, Fulham.
No, I think it's wide open, the third place. I do believe that those 2, I think, will be relegated.
Yes,
and then
me too.
I don't know the third one. I really don't know.
Speaking of managers that might be interested, we want to give Leeds fans a little idea of the names that they've been linked with. Of course, Corberán, he's not in the mix anymore. We saw West Brom tweet yesterday, our boss, we're delighted to announce Carlos Corberán has signed a contract extension at the Hawthorns. He was in the mix there, one of the favourites. Yeah. Andoni Iraola, he's also been linked with the job at Ellen Road. They have played 20 games.
That is the problem you have.
So there's still quite a long way to go. Would you take that risk, Ray? When you're just
it's a totally
different
look. We know it's a much tougher league, Premier League, than the La Liga and leagues like that. So That's the big gamble they take. Now, it's good that he can speak English. That always helps, I must admit, because there'd be certain managers who can't speak English, like Bielsa. But look at Bielsa, what he did. I'm sure he could speak English, but he didn't want to at the times. Yeah. But yeah, that is the decision they've got to make now. And as I said before, they must have a plan. I can't see why would you sack managers when you haven't got a plan. Your backup. It's like if you lose players in like Brighton do. You know, if you lose players, they've got a list of 3 players who can replace that player. Yeah. Number 1 might not be available. Right, we go for number 2. So
they're probably panicked a bit as well.
I'm sure Leeds have got to have that sort of plan as well.
I think they're probably panicked with the sacking and thinking, we're out of the Premier League for so many years, we can't afford to go down because it could take another 10, 15 years to get back up. So they're panicking, thinking, it's looking like a big possibility. You know, you look at it now, it's Leeds, Everton.
It sounds like that guy's done a wonderful job, though, doesn't it? Andy Brussel, who mentioned there. I mean, he's a young coach, and he's got them promoted, and they're sitting very good in the league at the moment. So he looks like he's got potentially to be a good manager. But whether he comes straight into England and makes a mark is a different matter.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday morning 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.